Welcome to IELTS Mock Test Exam by IELTS Cambodia Tutorial. Presentation practice for Part 2 of the IELTS Speaking Test.
Describing people. Sample Study 1. The child I like to describe is my neighbor's son. I first met him when he moved into our neighborhood to live with his parents. Previously, he had been living with his grandparents in another city. I guess he looks like a typical Chinese boy. He has short black hair and dark brown eyes. He's a bit overweight and of average height for a 7-year-old boy. I think he's a cute kid, especially when he laughs and smiles. As for his personality, I'd say that he's a very outgoing, friendly, happy, and active. He knows all the neighbors and greets them with a loud voice whenever he sees them. He loves to play all kinds of games, and I often see him with his friends running all around our compound, or playing soccer, or just having a good time. I think that this little boy is really inspiring. Every time I see him, I feel really happy because he's so happy to say hello to me. It makes me think that whatever I'm worrying about is not really that important, and it encourages me to be friendly to others as well. I love the way children are so free from problems and stresses, and especially this little boy. He just loves life and enjoys each day fully.
Sample Study 2. One of my close friends is Jenny. Jenny is 2 years older than I and is now studying computer science at university. She gives the impression of being pretty simple, but she's really smart and also does very well in school. We met through a mutual friend who introduced us to each other. This mutual friend is my classmate and also Jenny's cousin. One time when I was at my friend's home, Jenny came to visit her, so she introduced me to her. Jenny and I both like going to a park and just walking around. We talk quite a lot about everything and enjoy the peaceful environment of the park. I think that's what we like to do most. Another thing that we often do is go shopping together. We have similar tastes in clothes and music, so we like to go shopping with each other too. I really like Jenny because she's so easy to be around. She's not demanding and pushy like some people I know. We don't have to plan everything in detail when we get together. We just do whatever comes to mind. I think that Jenny understands me the most, even more than her cousin, who is my classmate. Jenny and I can share anything. She tells me about what she's going through, and I tell her about my problems. I've never had such a close friend who really cared about me and wasn't trying to get something from me. I guess the best thing is that our friendship is not selfish. We both want the very best for each other.
Describing items and events. 1. Describing items. Sample study.
One of my favorite toys is a remote control car. It's mostly made of plastic, and it takes 4 batteries to operate. It's a miniature version of a sports car, so it has these cool designs on it. I bought it at a toy store in downtown Beijing. I had saved up some money and had been planning to buy it for a long time. When I had enough money, I went with my friend to the toy store, and we stood there for a long time trying to decide which model to buy. Finally, I chose a car that looked like a Porsche. Basically, there are 2 parts to it: the remote control and the car. Sometimes I just play with it by myself. I imagine that I'm a race car driver, and I put all these obstacles on the floor and try to drive around them as quickly as possible. But the best way to play is to race against another car. Some of my friends also have a remote control car, so we make all these race courses and then see whose car is the fastest. I guess I'm a bit too old to still be playing with toy cars, but a remote control car is still a lot of fun for me. When I'm racing my car, I try to imagine that I'm actually the driver in a real race, which makes it very exciting. Also, I've made a lot of friends just by racing my car. First, my friend and I started racing cars in front of our building. Then, a few other kids came along and wanted to join in. Even some adults wanted to watch and have a turn. So now we have a regular group of friends who bring their cars to race each other. I don't know if it sounds silly, but it's really fun. I do hope to own a real car one day, but I doubt I'll be able to afford a race car or a Porsche.
2. Describing past events. Sample study. An exciting period in my life was when I was in elementary and middle school. Actually, it wasn't during school, but during the summer holidays when I was an elementary and middle school student. Every year for about 7 summers, my parents sent me to see my grandparents who lived by the seaside. I guess I started going when I was about 6 years old until I was 13. There were a lot of good things about going to see my grandparents, but the best thing was that my cousins also spent the summer with my grandparents. So every summer, 4 of us cousins would meet at my grandparents' home and spend about 5 weeks together by the seaside. My cousins and I are all pretty close in age. My oldest cousin is about 3 years older than my youngest cousin. I am the second oldest of the cousins. My grandparents were always very happy to have us, even though their apartment was quite crowded and we all had to share a room. What did we do? We did a lot. Every day we went to the seaside to swim or play in the sand or collect shells. We're all very good swimmers now, even though at first we were scared, just like everyone else. Every summer we started a new seashell collection. We'd go up and down the beach looking for interesting or beautiful shells. Most of the time, we just found some common-looking shells. But once my cousin found a really pretty shell that was pink, red, yellow, and brown. When we were younger, we would build things in the sand and also bury each other's legs. Sometimes we would pretend to hunt for treasure. There were so many things to do there. I have so many happy memories about spending summers with my grandparents and cousins. Going to the seaside was a nice break from living in the city and going to school every day. We didn't have to think about homework or school pressure. The other good thing about going to my grandparents' place was seeing my cousins. We all lived far away from each other, so we didn't normally get a chance to spend time together. Now we still live in different cities, but we're very close friends and we call each other all the time. It is great to have cousins to talk to and get advice from.